All right, I think we should be good to start. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We have Skye Eddy from Soccer Parenting, and she will be discussing sideline behavior and diving a little bit deeper into the Sideline Project. If you do have questions while she is presenting, feel free to use the question and answers box, and we can go through and stop them in between the presentation, and then we can also have a separate time at the end to answer any other questions that you may have. I'm going to hand it over to you, Skye.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Jamie. Thank you, everyone from Mass Youth Soccer. I do feel like Mass Youth Soccer is sort of my second home. I've spent so much time in Massachusetts. I grew up going to Region 1 camp at Amherst and then went on to play at the University of Massachusetts. So spent some impressionable years in Massachusetts. My daughter's at college at Emerson and Boston now. So just have so many strong connections to the organization. And I've always been so impressed with your leadership and just the great work that you all are doing as coaches to engage and learn more. I've spoken a number of times at one of your in-person events, and I've always just been so impressed with coaches from Massachusetts. So I'm really, really excited about tonight and appreciate your time. I will be monitoring the chat a little bit as well, but certainly feel free to unmute yourself and interrupt me through this, except for when I'm showing the video, but interrupt me if you have a question. But as Jamie said, we will get to questions at the end too. So queue them up as you're thinking about them. I absolutely welcome a healthy discourse about sideline behavior and the work that we're doing at Soccer Parenting as we wrap this up and answer questions at the end. So what I'm hoping for this evening is that you each walk away with a deeper understanding of your role as a coach when it comes to parent engagement, when it comes to sideline behavior. And I know that you as a coach are instrumental in improving sideline behavior, and the programming that we're doing at Soccer Parenting is really working. So I hope that you walk away with a moment of inspiration and actually excitement about the possibilities to improve sideline behavior and the impact that you can have as a coach in terms of building that strong community with a positive sideline. I wanted to back up just a little bit, and I'm not going to share a lot of slides today. I'm going to demonstrate a couple of ways that you can get involved and things that you have access to as a coach at Mass Youth Soccer or as a club leader at Mass Youth Soccer. So I'm going to show you a little bit about our partnership, and then we're going to watch together a 10-minute video that I am going to encourage you heavily to have all of your parents watch as well. So while I have your captive attention, we're going to go through this course that I'm going to recommend, and it's called the Sideline Project. It's free and accessible to every one of you, your parents, your clubs, everything through this partnership that we have with Mass Youth Soccer, and it is changing things. And just big picture about soccer parenting and what we believe. You know, we've been down this path for about 8 years now, working with parent engagement, working on helping coaches gain clarity about effective parent engagement programs, working with clubs in giving parents agency within their clubs so that we can impact player development. And at Soccer Parenting, we believe that a strong and supportive community of level-headed and like-minded parents and coaches will inspire players. We believe that parents will be difference makers when it comes to improving the game. And we also believe that when that more collaborative environment between coaches, clubs, parents, and players is absolutely in the best interest of player development. So, you know, those beliefs are the core and the foundation of our work at Soccer Parenting. And I just wanted to mention them as we're kicking this off so that, you know, we can kind of align around these ideas that parents do have a role, that parents are important. We all are clear that they have a ton of influence in the youth soccer experience that we're having as coaches. I was talking to Rob and Jamie before we kicked off about, my coaching experiences, and just with the work that I've been doing in the youth game and coaching here in Richmond with the Richmond Strikers. I can see the influence that parents have either in the kids' lives or in my life and my job satisfaction as a coach. And so, those are all the beliefs that we really want to align around, is that parents are important. And I hope I empower you a little bit today. We're seeing some really exciting results from the Sideline Behavior course. So what I'm going to show you is this course. And just to kind of preface it a little bit, we survey parents 2.5 months after they take the course. And what we've heard from the limited results that we do have, but they're very positive, is that of the parents that felt like their behavior needed to improve, because like 32% of parents off the top are saying, I was fine, I was just required to take this, so I took it. But of the remaining people, 63% felt like their sideline behavior improved as a result of taking the course. And for me personally, a really exciting statistic, the second question we asked parents in this survey is, did your relationship with your child improve? And of the parents that felt like their relationship with their child needed to improve, 83% of them said that their relationship with their child improved as a result of taking the Sideline Project course. So, we're really excited about that data, and excited about clubs that are going as far as to, and I kind of use air quotes here, like require parents take it. But I will tell you that I do this course with all of the parents that are on the teams that I've worked with in the past. Whether we do it via Zoom or whether pre-COVID, they'd come here into my office and we'd all watch together and discuss it. So just wanted to give you those insights. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you how simple it is for you to, am I screen sharing? Sorry about that. Was I screen sharing the whole time? All right, sorry about that. Somebody should have told me. I wanted to have that introduction, so this more deeper connection to the two of us, or to all of us for listening, but sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to go share my screen again, and now I'm going to go to the Mass Youth Soccer website. So obviously you all frequent visitors of the site or been there. All you have to do is go to the parents section, and when you're there, you see Soccer Parenting Association and the Sideline Project. I want you to click, you need to click on the Soccer Parenting Association link in order to have access to the full course. We'll come back to that other link later. So when you click on that link, you get taken to this page. And this is where all of your parents and coaches can gain access to Soccer Parent Resource Center. This is our education platform for parents and coaches. So I'm already a member, so it is a little bit different, but you'll have to enter your email address and you create a username, and then simply hit gain access, and you'll have access to the Soccer Parent Resource Center. So again, this is free for all of you. Mass Youth Soccer has purchased this access for every parent and coach in the state that's registered through US Youth Soccer. And so you are free to share this, encourage your parents to join. And all you do, and again, this is a whole education platform. I'm not going to demonstrate it to you, but you all can certainly come back, create your free membership, and gain access to it. There is just a ton of content on the site, in the library, the game plans, and we're just going to go to the courses page. And there's 5 courses here. And the one that I'm referring to here, obviously, is the Sideline Project. So I just hit start course, and this is a typical online education. I will say that there are clubs that are requiring their parents take this. They are saying all of our U8 parents need to take this course. There are definitely coaches that are requiring it, and some are requiring it to the effect that you need to turn in your certificate to the team manager to verify you took it, and others are just loosely requiring it. But I do think it's important that we use this language. What I'm most excited about this course is that we're developing a common vernacular regarding sideline behavior. we're going to go ahead and watch the video so you can get a sense of it. But, the whole process of this commonality for us to have around sideline behavior is really important. Okay, so let's just, I'll explain to you what the parents do so that you can be comfortable with your parents doing this. So they're going to take a quick survey about, what their behavior has been. They'll hit submit on that. They don't have to enter their name, information, anything, and then they'll watch this video. And I'm going to go ahead and just turn this on. So this is going to be playing for 10 minutes. At one point in the middle of it, I'm going to stop it. At one point, there's an exercise that we have to do where you're speaking out loud, and please do it. It's a game changer for those who participate in that, and I'll stop it just before then. But I'm just going to go ahead and post play. Jamie, if you're having any issues with hearing this or anything, then please obviously interrupt me. Don't let this keep playing, but I think it'll be just fine.
Hello, parents and coaches. My name is Skye, and I'm the founder of Soccer Parenting. This sideline behavior video is presented by Soccer Parenting. Our vision is to make you soccer better, and we know that you watching this video will be a step in that direction. Thank you for being here. Let's talk about crazy soccer parents. What I have found to be the case as I travel the country speaking to coaches and parents about youth soccer is that when I mention sideline behavior, people immediately think I'm talking about crazy soccer parents. That's not the case. The crazy soccer parents certainly pose a lot of problems, but all parents and coaches can be a part of the solution to improved sideline behavior. It's important to note that our sidelines are out of control, not just because of parents who are abusive in nature, but also because of parents who care way too much about the results of the game, who are living vicariously through their child and are not acting like normal, rational adults. There's very little that could be done to change these abusive or irrational soccer parents. This video won't likely help them. Instead, this video is for you, level-headed parents who may get stressed now and then. There's a lot you can do to improve the sidelines. There are 3 types of sideline behavior: supportive, distracting, and hostile. Helping parents and coaches understand the differences between supportive, distracting, and hostile behavior is a fundamental purpose of this video. Let's review each of the types of behavior in a bit of detail. I'll start with supportive. This is the only type of behavior that we should be hearing from the sidelines. Supportive behavior, according to Omley and Weiss-Bornstall in their 2006 study, involves attentive silence during games. That's cheering after a positive outcome, such as a good play or a goal being scored, as well as encouragement and praise at the appropriate times. The key words here, appropriate times, not while your child is in the middle of performing or concentrating. We'll get into that more in the distracting part. Examples of supportive behavior are good job, go red team, keep working hard. Supportive behavior is 100% encouraged and acceptable if, and there is an if here, if your child is okay with it. For instance, my son doesn't mind it. He even wants to hear my encouraging voice at the appropriate times during his games. But my daughter says simply hearing my voice, even if it's positive and supportive, distracts her from the game. So with that in mind, in an effort to honor her time to play, because it's her time, not mine, I focus on being in attentive silence mode during my daughter's games. I'm paying attention and I'm quiet. Next, let's talk about hostile behavior, and we'll get to distracting behavior afterwards. I want to be sure you understand that hostile behavior is not the only type of behavior that must end. Keep listening so you can learn about distracting behavior and its effect on our children's performance, as this is most likely a type of behavior you use now and then, and that must also end. Hostile. We all know what this is. This is yelling at referees, yelling at your child, yelling at other parents, yelling at other players. Sadly, this type of behavior happens regularly during games. There have been limited observational studies about sideline behavior, but what the limited research we do have says is that hostile behavior makes up between 5 and 30% of the overall sideline behavior. Omley et al. In 2006 found that the form of angry behaviors most commonly reported by parents, coaches, and athletes is yelling at the referee, followed by embarrassing behavior such as swearing and encouragement to play rough and outside the rules. One thing is for sure, hostile behavior must end. We must work to completely rid our sidelines of hostile behavior. Yes, we do aspire to that lofty goal. This video is therefore a call to action to the level-headed parents, that's you, asking you to take the power away from the repeat hostile communicators. When hostile behaviors happens repeatedly, it needs to be reported by you, the level-headed parents, and handled by club administration. We must begin to embrace the idea that it is a club's responsibility to provide a safe and nurturing environment free of hostile behavior for all the players, families, coaches, and referees. It's easy to focus on the hostile behavior because it's so obvious it's a problem. However, one of the primary purposes of this video is to give you insight into the third type of behavior, distracting. This is the most misunderstood behavior coming from the sidelines. Simply put, when your child is in the middle of performing, playing the game, and they hear any type of instruction from parents or coaches, you are not helping, you are distracting. Examples of this behavior are comments such as, go to the ball, or pass to Johnny, shoot, get rid of it. Generally speaking, I have found that distracting behavior serves one primary purpose: to alleviate our stress as parents and coaches. Players should be hearing their teammates and reasonable information from their coach, not their parents. This is their game. While it may appear to help in the moment to correct the behavior, research is rather clear that it is not always beneficial, and yelling instructions from the sidelines does not support long-term cognitive growth. Multiple studies show that if these distracting comments are not accurate in content and appropriately timed, children who are the target of these comments may actually experience delays in skill acquisition and tactical growth. Distracting players does not help them develop. One of the primary objectives of the Sideline Project is for parents to distinguish between supportive and distracting behavior and stop the distracting behavior. To help demonstrate the effects of distracting behavior during a game, I want to go through an exercise with each of you. I ask that even though you're sitting at your computer and most likely alone, that you participate and speak out loud in order to get a complete understanding and appreciation for this exercise. The exercise is called the Stroop effect. The Stroop effect was named after John Ridley Stroop, who in 1935 published an article in the Journal of Experimental Psychology discussing this exercise. This exercise is considered to measure selective attention, cognitive flexibility, and processing speed. And in a clinical setting, it's used as a tool in the evaluation of executive functions and how interference affects performance. Obviously, this is not a clinical setting. I use this test here to demonstrate how interference affects performance in terms of how a parent or coach talking from the sidelines affects the performance of the child. It's a means of providing you with some perspective about how your child feels when you're shouting instructions from the sidelines. I am going to put up a slide with a list of colors. I ask that you read them left to the right, line by line, out loud, as fast as you can. Yes, that will feel weird to talk out loud, but please do so. Begin. Keep going. Go faster. Okay. Now I'm going to put up a new slide. On this slide is also a list of colors. What you need to say now is the color that is displayed, not the word that is written. Begin. Go faster. Keep going. That's a bit harder, isn't it? That moment of hesitation you experience, that moment where you're trying to say the word, but there is this lag, a moment of interruption, that is how your child feels when they're playing and they're dribbling down the sideline, concentrating on the technical skill and what their decision is going to be, and they hear your voice telling them to pass to Johnny or go to the ball. When I do the Stroop effect exercise with parents and coaches across the country, I can literally see the light bulbs going off for parents and coaches when it comes to distracting behavior. And while I can't see you now because of the video, I really do hope the light bulb is going off for you in this moment. What we hope for the results of watching this video will be is that first, you will be more mindful, more aware of your sideline behavior. And my true hope is that for those of you out there who have a tendency towards distracting behavior, you will become acutely aware of it and stop it. In doing so, I hope you will find a new joy and excitement in watching the game, allowing the game to belong to the children, not the adults, and appreciative of the learning and development that is happening by all the children on the field. Second, I hope you will gain confidence in speaking up about hostile behavior to your club, thereby ridding our sidelines of such behavior. And most importantly, therefore providing our children with a safe place to play and develop as soccer players and people. Third, I hope your child will have more fun and continue to play soccer, regardless of their athletic potential. We need our children to stay healthy and stay involved in sports as long as possible. And giving them an environment that is more relaxed, less stressful, will help them decide to continue to play sports. If you're interested in learning more about the season-long free coach-facilitated Sideline Project that's appropriate for any sport or team.
Okay. It just wraps up there with just like another 30 seconds or so. So just wanted to bring it back and get your attention. Hey, pop into the chat, just some like quick initial thoughts or comments that you all have, and I'll try to monitor it. Again, the feedback we're getting from this video is very, very positive. And as the chat comments may be coming in, I'm going to go ahead and just show you what the rest of this course looks like, just to put it all together for you. So then after watching this, they will go to the next module. And this next module is kind of what we talked about in the course. It's about having a conversation with your child. So we give the parents prompts of what they could say to their child and having a conversation. Do you ever notice the parents screaming? Does the behavior of the parents on the sidelines affect you? What's the worst thing you've ever heard a parent say? You know, it just gives, if you had a magic wand, how would you want your coach to act while you're playing? So really giving the parents and the child some discourse and some suggestions. You know, these conversations are important, and obviously getting to the point where parents can understand if their child is more like my daughter and doesn't want to hear my voice at all, or if they're more like my son and wants to hear at the appropriate time some supportive conversations. And then the final step of this is to take the sideline pledge. And I am going to just put my stuff here so we can see this. So all parents do, in coaches, everyone should fill out this pledge, is put their first name, last initial, the state they're from, and then agree to the pledge. And I'll show you where that pops up in just a little bit. And so then they finish the course. If you're interested in requiring parents take it, they can simply download a certificate that they've taken it, and can screenshot that or download that and provide it to you. Excellent. Well, I hesitated. I was like, should we watch the whole course? And I felt like when you all are here, I really wanted to take the chance to show this to you so that you can get a sense of it. And see how easy it is to push it out to your parents. And then just building off of sideline behavior. And then I'd be happy to take some questions here. But building off of sideline behavior, you know, some key things that we need to think about as club leaders and coaches when we're thinking about this idea of sideline behavior. One, no one's ever really done something like this course before. Historically, the solutions we've had about sideline behavior have either been to have parents sign a pledge at the beginning of the season, a code of conduct. Of course, those things work and are valid, and they do effectuate some change. We've maybe had a silent play day where parents can't talk. Sometimes the coaches can't talk. The only voice is the players. Those are great. I mean, those have been, for me as a parent, and as a coach, have been like moments of inspiration. I think the big takeaway for me as a parent is like, oh, wow, she made that decision and did that without me telling her. I guess my voice isn't that important. And it was kind of fun in those silent days to watch the kids develop. But of course, there's no real behavior change long-term necessarily. And so what we've sort of failed to do is educate parents And so that's what we're hoping to bring with the Sideline Project course is a moment of education for parents about supportive, distracting, and hostile. And a few key ways that you can implement this with your teams. One is hold a parent meeting where you talk about the Sideline Project, where you provide them specific information about how they can go and find the course, or you could send them the link in the email to the Massview Soccer website where they can claim their free membership and then go to the courses page to take it. But you really need to, as a coach, like frame the season long objective around your culture and what it means to be a parent on the team and be a part of this team community around sideline behavior. And what's really essential is that you start using the vernacular supportive, distracting, and hostile. So what happens when we do that is then parents can self-reflect and put their behavior into different buckets. So they can acknowledge themselves, oh, that was supportive, or, oh, wow, I say that all the time and that's distracting. Now I see that. So we want to keep using the supportive, distracting, and hostile vernacular with our teams. You want to use that in your parent meeting. You want to refresh parents with that throughout the course of the season. I know that we're very hesitant, and I'd be happy to talk about this more during the question and answer period, but we're very hesitant to require things of parents. You know, some of them have just signed their kids up for rec soccer and now they have to take something. Like, we know, you know, parents are busy. We all get that. I just will tell you that the clubs and the teams that are requiring this have no pushback, and the behavior change is noticeable. I hear from clubs that literally will call me and say, oh my gosh, Skye, we required our UA parents watch this course. 2 weekends ago, the behavior was like this. This past weekend, it was so improved from the parents all watching this. So we really are seeing behavior change that is sustainable over time based on the course. You know, send and give reminders to your parents. One of the key ways to do this, and something that I really love, I do this with my teams. I think this is most effective with some of the younger age groups, because in the older age groups, the parents maybe get there later or aren't involved in the side, or, you know, aren't watching before the game. But I do what's called a pregame huddle. I'll show you where you can find more information about this, but I walk over to the sideline, and this is a part of the season-long Sideline Project program for coaches. And we do a lot of training about this. Again, feedback extremely positive on this. But I walk over to the sideline in the final phase of my team's warm-up. That's when it works for me. So the teams that I've coached, I'm not coaching this season, but in the past, I've been coaching at that U10 age group. It's great for the girls to have some autonomy and manage the last session, the last part of the warm-up. And I walk over to the sidelines. The parents are expecting it because we've talked about it, and we do it almost every game. Some games I miss it just because somebody shows up late, or there's an issue with a referee, or, you know, something happens. Of course, it's not going to happen every time, but I'd say about 80% of the games we do it. So parents see me walking to the sidelines, they get up, they gather, and we have what I call like a pregame huddle is a 1 to 2 minute parent meeting. And I think the best way to reference it is it's like the sideline reporter putting the mic in the coach's mouth. So when they're walking out to the pitch and saying, so coach, what are you expecting to see today? And that's what the meeting is. It's not taking questions. It's not a lot of long narrative. It's really quick points. You talk about what you've been working on in training, what you're specifically hoping to see. If possible, give the parents something to look for. Like, we've been working on checking to the ball. And so that means when a player makes a specific action, running towards the ball, asking for it, they might call for it with their voice. They might show for it with their hands. They're probably looking at the person with the ball. If you see people making that move, even if they don't get the ball, please give them, some encouragement, because that's what we've been working on this week. And then you give the parents a reminder about supportive, distracting, and hostile behavior. You use those words, and then you leave and you go and you finish up the warm up. And there's a couple reasons why this is so effective. One, it's just a great reminder at a very important time. But two, for those of you who are soccer parents, you know that the most stressful time to be a parent is like this moment, is just before the match starts. Like, if you do have a tendency towards stress, even if you're level-headed, this is going to be when you feel it. So you wake up in the morning with your child, you think about what they're going to have for breakfast. You like want them to pack their own bag, but you're nervous they didn't. So you kind of check it when they're not looking to make sure they have everything. You know, you're spending a lot of time thinking about this match. And then you get in the car and you try not to give them a pregame talk because they don't want to hear it, but you're very thoughtful about it. And you're looking in the rearview mirror to see what their face looks like, to see if they're ready. Like, it's a stressful time. And then the kids go to the warm up, you sit down in your chair and you watch every single moment of your child. You don't take your eyes off them. And, you know, this focus happens. And so this is the way to break that cycle and that stress and that intensity, and to bring all the parents together, give them a sense of solidarity, connection, maybe have it be a little lighthearted, and then they're there together. You know, you can end the pregame meeting with, you know, the pregame huddle with a little moment, a little cheer just for them to, you know, support their child and give them a sense of appreciation of how much you appreciate them. So, you know, that's, and I know I was being a little dramatic, like, I mean, I'm sure there's some parents that do that. And I know many of you are like, yes, yes, yes. But, you know, even if it's not that stressful or that real, you know, we still feel these things. And so again, reason why the pregame huddle really, really works. The feedback from it is great. And then a final thing that you can do, you know, throughout the year, as you're really trying to work on this sideline behavior, is catching them being good, which is, you know, my favorite Tony DiCicco quote. Tony was a great friend, a mentor of mine. I know many of you as well, if you're lucky enough to ever be in his presence. And, you know, that's a title of Tony's book, Catch Them Being Good. And we need to do that for our parents as well. So if it's an intense game, or maybe it's a rivalry and the parents have really good behavior, applaud it. You know, make sure that you acknowledge that they're doing well, or that, you know, you're getting positive feedback, or spend 5 minutes and kind of try to listen to the sideline and make sure that you can give some really good positive feedback. So just catch them being good. And then the final thing to discuss around sideline behavior is to establish this community within our clubs, within our teams, around this is the behavior that we want to have. Keyword here is the pronoun we, that as coaches and parents, we're saying this is what we want, not you all need to do this, but we need to have our sidelines this way in order to support our children. And I want to talk a little bit about community. I'm going to share my screen one more time and share a slide with you. Oh, let me open it up first so that it'll show up to share. And this is the research around sense of community theory, which is foundational to the work that we're doing at Soccer Parenting and working to build strong communities within teams and clubs. So there's plentiful and fantastic research around how we specifically develop community. And Eric Legg at Arizona State University, that I'm collaborating with on some research projects right now related to sideline behavior, he's actually done some specific research on sideline behavior, on sense of community feelings for sideline behavior with parents and soccer. So there's some really great research. And quickly, I'm going to go through this, is that this is what the research says. And I want to frame this research around the Sideline Project to help you realize that it's possible to, as a coach, to form a sense of community within your team, make this part of the DNA of your team, your parents, your players, everyone, about this is how you behave. So this is what's required to feel a sense of community. The first is group membership. And so within group membership, there's 4 components. So in order for your families, your parents, to feel a sense of group membership, they need to have a personal investment. Of course, they have that in soccer because they're paying, but they've made a personal investment by watching the course. They spent 15 minutes of their lives watching the video, going through the course. They had a conversation with their child. They put their name on the pledge. That's a personal investment that the parents are making in improving sideline behavior and being part of the Sideline Project. Boundaries. We talk about boundaries in the video about the level-headed parents and the crazy parents on reporting behavior, like setting clear boundaries about what's appropriate and what's not. And that's essential to the sense of group membership as well. Obviously, emotional safety is foundational to all this, whether this be emotional safety for our children or for the parents, giving them permission, giving them some agency in this experience of the sidelines and of the game day experiences for the children, and letting them know that it's okay to come talk to the coach. And the reason we spend so much time talking about that reporting is I actually don't know how it is in Massachusetts for your matches, but all over the country, it's different. Where we're coaching, the parents are on the other half of the field, other side of the field. I really don't often hear them at all, unless it's something like really loud. I don't hear a lot of the chitter chatter that happens. So, we want to make sure that parents feel comfortable. And my teams, you'd think the parents of my teams would be perfect, but they're not. I've had parents confide in me that, this parent is screaming a lot at their child. And today they actually started screaming at another player on the team. So obviously we need to address that. And then a sense of belonging, like you're using the we pronoun around behavior. Like we are going to have this be a focus for the season. This is what we stand for as a team. So really coming into this with a sense of belonging around it. And then ultimately, we hear the feedback from the Sideline Project course, parents our needs are being fulfilled. Like parents need to know that their child is in a good, safe environment. And by pushing this out and by making the game day experience of players and their emotional safety and their ability to be able to grow and develop, by making that a priority, we are making sure that parents' needs are being fulfilled. Parents need influence. They need to feel like they matter. You're giving them that by making them a part of the Sideline Project. And then this shared emotional connection, which is, I hadn't really thought of it until saying it that way, but that's sort of what the pregame huddle does, especially is building up this sort of shared emotional connection amongst everyone. So I'm going to go show you one more thing, and then I welcome any questions. I can't see if any are coming in or not, actually. But I'm going to share one more screen. I'm going to go back to Mass Youth Soccer. But before I do that, I'm going to go to the Sideline Project website. Sorry. So this is the sidelineproject.com. This is where you can find a shorter video, which I'll show you on the Mass Youth Soccer page in a second. But also here is where you can find more information about the pregame huddle. So if you're curious and want to dive in more, here's a little bit of information about it, how to do it, suggested topics. And then coaches find this frequently asked questions area really helpful so that we get into some of the nitty-gritty things on that. So you can find more information about that there. I wanted to show you that. And then finally, I'll go back to the Mass Youth Soccer website, which I thought I had left open, but I didn't. And I'm going to show you that other page that you saw. So if you feel like, the course is too long, which I hope you don't, it's 15 minutes, but if you do, or if you've already had your parents watch the course in the past, but they want a little refresher, is that you can go back to the parent page. And if you go to the Sideline Project, that shorter video that I was just showing you on the sidelineproject.com. So if you go to the Sideline Project button there on the Mass Youth Soccer website, you have an iframe of that course. So right here, your parents can watch a shorter 2.5-minute video. And then they can take the same pledge. You saw, I just had my name earlier. You can see, I was like, I didn't see it, but other people have taken it ahead of me. So here's my name right here that I entered. So when I entered it on the course site, or if I enter it on the Mass Youth Soccer site or at soccerparenting.com or any of the state associations that have it, we all get our name added to the same virtual pledge wall to try to build some solidarity and some energy around that. Okay, I think that's all of my presentation for y'all tonight. I appreciate your time, and we'll kind of turn it over to you if there's any follow-up or anything you're not quite sure about, or that you don't quite, maybe have some hesitation to, you're not quite sure that I'm on the right page with this. I'm happy to banter a little bit about, the results that we're seeing and the feedback that we're getting. Oh, I'm going to pull up the chat. Well, if there aren't any questions, hopefully you hopefully you all found this helpful, and are excited about running this with your teams. Kimmy, I didn't know if you had a Q&A or if everyone was, if it's just the chat. I think usually for Zoom webinars, it's just, I mean, for the Zoom meetings, it's just the chat, right?
Yeah, just the chat, and if they wanted to unmute themselves and ask any questions that way.
Okay, I welcome them. Bring it on. I hope you remember how to get to the Soccer Parent Resource Center, the education platform. Like I said, you all have a free membership. There's an entire coach education section there called Coaches in the top menu bar. And there you'll find some really thoughtful coach education that I'm extremely proud of. A couple of weeks ago, we had a coach education event with Dan Abrahams from the UK. It was one of my favorite conversations ever. I did not want to hit end on the webinar. I just wanted the conversation to keep happening. That conversation is up on the coach area, as well as other sessions I've done on emotional intelligence and coaching, relationship building, parent engagement and coaching, all of these different things. Yeah, so that's a really good question, Brian. Like, how do we respond to challenging parents who reject this? So, you know, I love that question because it really frames the work that we're doing as soccer parenting. And historically, we have given way too much time and way too much of our energy as coaches to the crazy soccer parents. You know, if a parent's going to reject this, and I will say I've really never had that feedback outwardly. I'm sure maybe somebody's like, this was a waste of my time. I didn't need this. But if they do, then that parent, you know, really isn't worthy of your time and attention as a coach. What we focus our time, our energy, our efforts on at Soccer Parenting are the level-headed parents who are stressed. Sometimes they're more stressed, sometimes they're less stressed. Sometimes they're not stressed at all. Sometimes they don't even care enough to be stressed. Like all those parents, those are the ones that we want to really support. And, you know, as coaches, the crazy parents have really just pulled us down, taken away our energy. They've made way too many coaches quit coaching and having really stressful, traumatic even experiences. I know that. And so, you know, I would say if a parent really rejects this and say, I don't have time, you can't require this, just be like, okay, that's fine. Don't give them any space or time and just move on to the parents that will be receptive, because I promise you that there's many more parents in your team that will be receptive to this than not. And what's happened is that we haven't spoken to those parents enough as coaches and as club leaders. And so what's happened is that the crazy parent has controlled the sidelines, and the ones that were on the verge or that were stressed will start listening to the crazy parent, and they'll have way too much energy. So that's why we really need to give those level-headed parents some agency in their space so that we can have their energy prevail, and you know, that they can improve the sidelines or improve the sense of community that you have within your team. Yeah, so if they're not taking it and you require them, he's following up, say, yeah, usually it's their actions, not their actual verbal out loud. Like if they're in the back rolling their eyes, let them do that. You know, it just I would honestly just ignore it and focus on the parents that you can really impact, because your influence is really strong in this space. And so we want to make sure that we're influencing the people that have the ability and the desire to change and learn and grow and provide an environment that's better for their children. What are the stats on the kids who quit because of parent behavior? We don't have those stats. You know, we don't even track enough of the kids who play, but that is a good question. I think there's a lot of anecdotal evidence. The statistic that we often hear, you actually realize people aren't using it anymore. 70% of kids quit sports at the age of 13. That statistic is not really relevant. It might be a little bit anecdotal in nature, but it was really taken from a sporting goods industry research study that was done on parent behavior of purchasing things. And so it was just pretty poorly extrapolated and then used. I mean, I think it's anecdotally, we do see a drop off of kids, but a lot of those kids go to other sports, go to other activities, go to high school only and stop doing clubs. So there might be some other things. So yeah, no, there's no real evidence to support that. I will say though, you know, kind of going off of this idea of these level-headed parents, like if we stop and we look at coaches, or we ask ourselves as coaches and we say, in the last 2 seasons, 4 seasons, whatever, like how many really out of control, unable to help parents have we had? And I would say that that number is probably like 1 or maybe 2 on a team. And I've had a number of seasons where I haven't had any parents that are like that. And I think what the gift is of soccer parenting and the Soccer Parent Resource Center, this education platform that you can provide your parents for free, the gift is that those parents that are stressed and aren't quite sure, like now they have a resource. They can go and they can listen, they can watch this course, they can listen to hundreds of different interviews, read articles, take other courses. There's information for those parents. And I know I hear from parents all the time that are thanking me for this content because they were on the verge of losing it and they weren't doing soccer parenting right. And if you've heard me speak before and you've heard me tell any stories about my experiences being a soccer parent to Callie, who's my daughter who's playing at Emerson now, like I really struggled. I thought being a soccer parent would be easy and it was not for me. And so that I'm able to look back on now was also part of why I founded Soccer Parenting. There were a number of reasons, but I can look back now and I can see this was a resource for me because I knew if I kept doing what I was doing, that Callie would likely quit playing or not have this love of the game that I so desperately wanted her to. And so that was really, a driving factor. I can see now. I wasn't willing to admit that in the moment, but now I can look back and say that that was a big part of that. So I do hear from parents all the time that are grateful for this education, this connection, this information. All right. Thank you for that extra conversation. I appreciate it.
We did have one more comment.
I missed that.
I don't know if it went just to me, but he said, I really considered the distracting aspect of sideline behavior. He tended only to think of sideline behavior as either supportive or hostile.
Yeah. Oh, game changer. Like this is what parents need to know. And the research is very clear. And I hope you like taking that Stroop effect test. And hopefully even for some of you went, oh, wow. I mean, it obviously applies to us as coaches as well. And it's the distracting behavior. And what we're seeing is that when the distracting behavior ends, the sidelines get quieter. And so then that hostile behavior is really noticeable and happens less. Because it's not like it's just part of the energy. And there's a lot of things we didn't talk about sideline behavior, about referees that are struggling, about the frustration that parents have when for the 3rd week in a row, they get the same referee who's making the same mistakes and they don't have a way to complain or to feel like their voice is being heard, and it's frustrating. So there's a lot of issues we didn't talk about that we obviously dived into with soccer parenting. This is not just a one-way street. And we are making active changes and working hard with our referee associations and working with state associations and referee assigning groups so that, we're seeing great results from state associations and from leagues, that are providing parents an opportunity to know that their complaint is being heard and giving some feedback that we've heard your complaint about this referee. Just that alone is making a big difference with that stress that we feel. So the distracting behavior ending will end the hostile behavior in many ways. All right. Thank you all so much for your time. If no other questions are coming in, Jamie, you don't have any others, right?
Nope, that was it.
Thank you all so much. I really know that by you all thinking about this and learning more about this, hopefully implementing the Sideline Project with your teams and with your clubs, that we will make youth soccer better. And by each of you just participating tonight in this conversation, we've done that. So truly, I thank you so much for being a part of the solutions that we're all seeking to improve the experience and help more kids fall in love with this incredible game. So thank you. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. And I'll hang out here if anybody wanted to say anything. Is that, or are you going to end it, Jamie? I didn't know if you wanted me to hang out a little bit.
No. You can hang out. If anyone wants to stay on and ask questions in a smaller group, they can feel free to do so.
Hey, Skye, can I talk to you real quick?
Absolutely.
I can't tell who's
Hi,
talking
Michelle.
or not because hi. I had messaged back and forth with you on Twitter not too long ago because I do have a bit of a culture problem in my organization. We have a lot of problems with player retention. And I feel like this is the first time I watched this video today, but that distracting part of it, both in my coaches and in my parents, I can see as part of the problem. So I'm super excited about this, and I'm going to make sure my parents all know about it. And I'm hoping it makes a difference on our sidelines, both the coaching sideline and the parent sideline.
Great. I know it will. What are you with Cambridge? What club are you with?
Hopkinton.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was trying to remember our conversation. So great. All right.
Thank you so much for your time tonight. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for chiming in.